Is Corpus Christi Ghetto? If you ask Google, that's one of the top phrases that's searched for when it comes to this town. I mean, think of what you're sold when you come to Corpus Christi, right? You see something like this, you see the beaches, you see the big homes, you see the hotels. This is what you're sold, right? This is the idea that you bought into when you bring your hard-earned dollars into Corpus Christi. Something like this. And that's what you expect. That's what you want to see, right? That's what you want to feel. That's that first impression you want to have. But when you're coming in on 37, if first impressions are everything, you get something totally different. This is what you end up with. When you're driving into town, you see the oil refineries to your left, and you see the industrial parks on your right. Okay? A few trailer parks and stuff going through there. This is what you get. So if first impressions are everything, my first impression is I just wasted my damn money. Well, as you're trying to search for that bill of goods that you were sold, right? That idea of this touristy vacation spot you were sold, you've got to go a pretty long way into town to find it. You got to really dig deep before you start to really find that beautiful postcard or that beautiful Facebook post that you were sold. So when people ask the question, is Corpus Christi Ghetto, they're asking a legitimate question. Well, the downtown area, take the Omni Hotel for instance, because it's representative of the entire downtown area. It's a nice place. It's out of date. The restaurant's overrated. If you like a piano bar, I guess it's okay. But it's not bad. I mean, it's old and way overdue for some investment. And I think that's representative of the entire city. There's no doubt Corpus is a beautiful city, but the problem with Corpus is it sabotages itself, and I think it always has. Corpus is stuck, right? Especially when it comes to investment. Corpus is stuck between this is the way we've always done it, and this is the way that we're going, okay? They're really caught in the middle. They're caught between these empty parking lots and big buildings. They really don't have a clue, and it really seems that way. Well, where did the problems start? Currently, I think dates back to the 80s and 90s with the whole Coastal Corporation, Oscar Wyatt, the Lavaca pipeline thing. You look at that, that's probably where today's problems for Corpus Christi started. Well, first off, I don't know if Corpus was ever designed to be a tourist destination. I mean, if it was, you don't build refineries right off the side of the friggin' interstate where everybody comes through it. It's the first thing they see when they come into town, right? If you're trying to be a tourist mecca, you don't want to travel through that shit. Hence why places like Dubai and, Abu Dhabi, and they're kind of hiding the stuff a little bit, so because they know people don't want to see that shit. And unfortunately, Corpus just isn't laid out to be able to hide the bullshit. I mean, you have to look at it. When you come into town, you have no choice but to see this shit. Well, whether you fly in, whether you drive in, no matter what, no matter where you look, your first impression of Corpus Christi is industry. And it's very much like I've always said, Corpus Christi is the Detroit of Texas. Maybe we haven't quite gotten that bad yet, but it could be, and we're not over that hump yet. So, yeah, Detroit. Back to the ultimate question, is Corpus Christi Ghetto? It depends on how you look at it, right? I mean, you drive around not too far off of the touristy areas, right, where we kind of guide you to go. You see a very different city. You see the tale of a very, very, very different city. Well, yeah, I mean, down on Ocean Drive, you see a little bit of investment. To these individual investors, it's probably a big investment, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really just a small investment. And you keep driving down Ocean Drive toward Shoreline Drive, you see, some of the homes that's been there for years. Some of them are fairly well maintained, other ones aren't. So again, you see some of that kind of facade there, You see a lot of the bullshit still hanging around there. So you see a very different city. That's kind of that postcard, right? That they want you to see. Me personally, you can have those pricks over there on Ocean Drive. This is what I call culture. You may call it ghetto. I call it culture. I call it heritage. Could it be fixed up a little bit? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Could it be cleaned up? Yeah, absolutely. It's these neighborhoods that need the investment dollars. It's these neighborhoods that make Corpus Christi great. I mean, the good thing, I suppose, for Corpus Christi is that most people who say they're coming to Corpus Christi aren't even coming to Corpus Christi. They're going to Port Aransas, or they're going to Rockport. They're going somewhere other than Corpus Christi. So the reality is that Corpus Christi doesn't have to deal with it. But when people do see Corpus Christi, they don't see this picture-perfect Norman Rockwell postcard that they've been sold. They're seeing the ghetto. They're seeing the industry. They're seeing the ghetto. And while it has its place in history, it's not what you were sold. So back to the $1 million question. Is Corpus Christi ghetto? Yeah, sure it is. Yeah, it really is. There's no two ways about it. I mean, Corpus Christi looks like Lubbock 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It looks like Amarillo today. It looks like Wichita Falls. It looks like Snyder, Sweetwater. It's beautiful. It's nice to look at. There's a lot of facade to it that's really nice to look at. But it doesn't know where it's going. Is it a city? Is it a town? Is it, is it growing? Is it dead? Corpus doesn't know. It shares a lot of similarities with Detroit. Obviously, the question is Corpus Christi ghetto. It's purely subjective, right? It's like art, right? It's purely 100% subjective. But the argument could be made that, yes, Corpus is a great place to visit. The argument could also be made that, yes, Corpus Christi is ghetto. So that's totally up to you. I mean, that's really in how you look at it. I mean, look at that building right there. I mean, it could be a beautiful building, but it looks ghetto. And that's right across the street from one of the nicest condos, apartment places in town. So is Corpus ghetto? Yeah, it's up to you. I mean, we got Whataburger by the Bay, a couple of nice restaurants down there that really are shit. I mean, so really, there's nothing to blow your mind. So, if that's your idea of great, then great. But those restaurants downtown, they're really shit. They're nothing to write home about. It's pretty basic, pretty average stuff. It's not Les Halles, it's not Commander's Palace. It's nothing really to brag about, but we do. So, but we got a Whataburger by the Bay, and that's pretty unique. Well, the next time you're driving through Corpus on your way to Port Aransas or to Rockport or wherever you're going, drive through Corpus. See for yourself. It's Corpus Christi Ghetto. And just keep in mind, it's purely subjective. Purely 100% subjective.